Hello, we are from Handong Global University Graduate School, international students for machine learning class. Our task was to find a project in GitHub and understand it, make it work. So we found a project for implementation of artificial neural networks using NumPy and classification of the Fruits360 image dataset. Our team is composed of 3 people: Pereira on the left from Mozambique, myself, Brenda, in the center from Uganda, and Vogel from DR Congo. The steps for the project is to build a neural network in Python using NumPy from scratch in order to do an image classification application for the Fruits360 dataset. 4 classes are used from such a dataset: apple, berry, lemon, mare, mango, and raspberry. Each class has around 491 images for training and another 162 for testing. The image size is 100 by 100 pixels. Continuation of the steps, we used features extracted from the dataset using the extra features.py script, as you'll see in the coding, selecting the suitable set of features in order to achieve the highest classification accuracy. Color features are the suitable ones to use in this task because colors are different. The hue channel is used as it differentiates the colors better than the RGB channel. After all the code is ready, the training data, that is features and class labels, when they are ready, the next step is to implement the artificial neural network using NumPy. My colleague is going to take you through the code.
Okay, my name is Pereira. I'll continue with the presentation. This is the basic idea represented in terms of diagram. What we have in input is the information about the fruits that we want to classify, and in the output we'll have nodes corresponding for each fruit. Each fruit will be represented in probability when we feed the neural network with appropriate data. For this, we obtain information cloning the repository on GitHub about the owners of the project. Okay. This is the cloned folder in our computer, and for this project we have 2 solutions, and we work on the first solution, that is the genetic algorithm, and in that we have these files that will be used in the file with the main code. Originally they are in Py format, but we will run it in our Jupyter notebook that we are familiar with. However, to see the code, we'll open it in Visual Studio Code IDE. So we can see that we have here the example that contains the main code, but also we have part of code that were developed, and they are considered here as a library, ENN and GE. ENN has the main functions of our neural network, the predict function and also the fitness function. The predict functions will help us to assess the performance, and the fitness function is the function that will be used to actually update the weights of the neural network. The GE code contains the main parts of the code that will be processing the matrices, as you can see. Okay, all the second part of the code are present in here and will be used. So this is the example code that we say, and is working with the previous specific codes that we talked about, that contain the information about the neural network and also main routines that will be used. We can see it starts by importing the main libraries that will be used. We can pay attention here for NumPy and Pico. Pico is the library that is handling the dataset, and also it's importing the matplot library that will help us in the end to visualize the result of our code. And then we define the main parameters, like the generation, which represents the time, the number of iterations that will be considered. Okay, first of all, we have here the initial population, where happens the initialization mainly for the weights. We can see that the weights are selected randomly from -0.1 to the highest, that is 0.1, and we have 3 layers network. The first layer with the input of 150 nodes, this hidden layer with 60 nodes, and the output layer with 4 nodes, which represents the number of fruits that we will be working with. Then we have here the generation loop. This one is the one that will represent the number of iterations that the code will be doing. And in here we can see that inside it calls the functions that will process the outputs, and it will use the libraries to call the functions that will help to update the weights and also to make the predictions, and with this calculate the accuracy. And then we have the last part of the code that will draw the graph that will show how the performance was improving for each iteration of the code. So, as we said, we used only Visual Studio IDE only to try to understand the code, but to run itself we will use Jupyter Notebook, and we already did it. We ran it before, and this is the code, the same that we showed in Visual Studio. We ran it here. We avoid to print in each iteration this information just to make it easy to understand, otherwise this field will be full of information. And this is the final result that we had. Fortunately, the accuracy of the solution was 96.5, and we can see in this graph from the first iteration that the accuracy with the random weight was 25%, not bad. But to the 1000 interaction, the accuracy raised to 96.5. Actually, to train and to find the accuracy of this code, it took more than 15 minutes, and the result is this. We are happy with the result. If you want to understand it more, you can go to the source, clone the repository, and also try to run it by yourself. Thank you for staying with us through all this explanation. We hope that it can serve for you anyway. Thank you. Bye.